Yeah, greetings to you all, comrades. Once again, thank you very much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to see all of you as usual. To all our sisters and brothers who are joining us, both from the Caribbean, our brother Anu. Greetings, brother. Thanks for what you're doing in the people of Barbados, and we really appreciate and what you're doing in the Caribbean.
Thank you, brother. You're most welcome.
Thank you. Greetings to you, Ras Pala in South Africa. I know you've been doing also great work in terms of the history of our ancestors and a lot of agriculture that you're promoting down there. Probably we'll be having maybe a history class some other time in this year that might be led by Brother Anunnaki. Greetings, brother. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, my brother. Give thanks and of the league and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Greetings to you, Sir Windhoek from Namibia. How are you, brother?
Greetings.
Yeah,
Greetings,
I know you're doing a good work there in the Revolutionary Political Party. So
I'm glad to hear you are better.
Action. Thank you, brother, and it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Greetings to you, Sister Portia. I know you've been joining us from the Republic of Tanzania.
Woohoo! Africa, Akibulan. Greetings, everyone.
You are back home to the cradle of mankind. Yeah, you're my neighbor here. One day I'll try my best to cross over the border so that we can say hi to each other.
You are welcome. There's space for you. You know it. What I have is what I have. You come, please.
Okay, thank you very much, sister. Greetings to you, Sister Tapua. I know you're joining us from Zimbabwe, and thanks for what you're doing over there.
Thank you very much. I was just about to say when you're speaking to our sister there that we just remove the border between Kenya and Tanzania, then you'll be in the same place.
Yeah, we'll cross over. We have issues with our brothers and sisters over there. They say Kenyans are bragging in English, but then they speak their Swahili. But despite of the differences, we can always cross over. So thank you very much, sister. We'll always connect. We are brothers and sisters. Greetings to you, Brother Joseph from Grenada. How are you, brother?
I'm okay. I'm okay for now.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to see you, brother.
Okay.
I know the Prime Minister of, is it the Prime Minister of Grenada? The young Mitchell is doing good work over there.
Well, in context.
I don't know which context is it, but you from Grenada will tell better. But I'm following what he's doing.
I mean, when I say in context in relation to, well, in some area, because look, Haiti, for instance, Haiti has been barred, Haitian has not been barred from traveling to the United States. Not one of the Caribbean islands, including Grenada, have said anything since in the last 48 hours. Not one of them.
No problem. Yes.
Also, in the case of Venezuela, already that whoever is channeling terrorists to Trinidad to go to attack Venezuela, and none of these islands are saying anything.
Don't worry, we'll have this discussion, brothers, Elder Joseph, probably on our Saturdays, where we can get a proper update and see what we can do or what's going on. But it's a pleasure to have you with us joining us today, brother Elder Joseph.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you very much. Also, greetings to Elder Sam from South Africa. Elder, it's a pleasure to see you with us today.
Evening, everybody on the platform. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. We also have the King Maoli joining us from Ghana. Brother the King, greetings to you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Also joining us is Brother Coco from Lesotho, but out there. Brother Coco, greetings to you. Brother Coco, greetings. Okay, greetings. I can't hear you, Brother Coco. Just know that your mic is not. Yeah, I can now hear you.
Greetings to you guys, comrades, brothers, sisters, wherever you are.
Yeah, greetings, Brother Coco. Just for your records, we've met with Brother Coco in Nairobi. It was a pleasure for a short time to meet with him. So thank you, brother. We also have Sister Myra joining us. Sister Myra, greetings. Of course, from my neighborhood here in Uganda, we should be removing these borders, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, and make it one country first of all, as we move like the Sahel is doing it, if that is possible, sister. Greetings to you.
That is right, dear President.
The other side need to be liberated. We are trying this. The other side also need to be liberated. Okay. So, comrades, I think all of us who are here have recognized your presence. Or there's a comrade joining us with the name Sko Frika. Is this Sister Chisomo? Sister Chisomo?
Sorry, it's me. I'll change the name.
Oh,
Okay. Do I need to change? Okay.
No, I knew it was you. Greetings. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And how are you?
I'm equally fine. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
we checked from our directions. We have the brothers and sisters from the Eastern Africa, the Southern Africa, the Western Africa, the Central Africa. We are missing the Northern Africa. We have our sisters we have our brothers in the Caribbean, and our brothers who are joining us also from London or UK or Europe. So we are well represented, and it's a pleasure that this technology has enabled us now to meet together from all parts of the continent and have this conversation. Comrades, we thank you very much for your presence, for your continuous support. And yeah, let's delve deeper to what we are discussing today. Today, we are looking at the text before us. So as usual, what we'll be doing is actually to read the text, but we are still discussing as what is the title of our discussion today. Yeah, so let us do what we do usually. As usual, let's go through the text. Let's read the text, then we can start sharing our thinking. So who is present? But before that, remember last time we were looking at the sigmoid. Sigmoid Freud is a psychoanalysis on conscious and subconscious, unconscious and subconscious. And I've uploaded these videos on our YouTube channel. Hope you will find time to look at our YouTube channel and probably share them to those who might benefit from this, or even put any comment or any suggestion on how we can improve it. We are trying to do our best to ensure that we move that YouTube channel to a greater height. And we believe that all of us here have a platform and a network that can enable our recordings to be please spread across the continent. So once again, please find time to go to our YouTube channel and check our previous class on unconscious and subconscious by Sigmund Freud. So today we are looking at an ideology, and as usual, let's get somebody who is willing to read for us the text. Who is willing?
I'll read.
Anybody?
King Brother. I'll read King Brother Pigeon.
Okay, Sister Portia, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you reading. Please go ahead.
Okay. Just as a morality guides and seeks to connect the actions of millions of persons, so an ideology aims at uniting the actions of millions towards specific and and definite goals. Notwithstanding that, an ideology can be largely implicit. I am aware that in this usage, I depart somewhat from the fashionable one. It is often thought that an ideology has to be a body of writing of one individual or a small group of individuals directed only at fundamental change in a society. This is an evident mistake. An ideology, even when it is revolutionary, does not merely express the wish that a present social order should be abolished. It seeks also to defend and maintain the new social order which it introduces. But while it is defending its own social order, it is still an ideology and the same. That is to say, an ideology can remain an ideology while defending an existing progressive society. Nor can the fact that some particular ideology is not explicit on paper, nor can the fact that some particular ideology is not explicit on paper prevent it from being one. What is crucial is not the paper, but the thought.
Thank you. Thank you, and well done, sister, for doing your reading very slowly. So today, comrades, as been read, we are going to look at various things. One is, of course, defining an ideology. How does the text definition of ideology as a unifying force for collective action either differ from common perspective or perceptions? What makes an ideology implicit versus explicit? We are also trying to ask ourselves, can an ideology truly remain the same when it shifts from challenging a social order to defending a new one? What examples from history or today illustrate this? Why does the author then emphasize thought over written doctrine? How does this perspective change our understanding of ideology in practice? How can an ideology sustain a progressive society without becoming rigid or dogmatic? What are the risks of defending an established order? And what modern ideology, explicit or implicit, shape collective actions towards specific goals? Are there examples where unwritten ideology are more powerful than the documented ones? So these are part of the issues we are going to maybe engage that you've seen coming out from this conversation. So please join us as we discuss the dynamic nature of ideology, its role in both revolution and preservation, and the power of thought over hidden doctrine. So we are looking forward to a thought-provoking session filled with critical insights and collective reflections. Thank you very much. Permit me to know who is willing to start with us, sharing their thinking.
Comment Pigeon, could I make a suggestion?
Yes, Elder Joseph.
Yeah, I would suggest that probably we will look at the classical definition of ideology and also probably find the root, what is the derivative, which word it was derived from, so that having read what has been read so far, you could help us to amplify our own thinking. This is just a solution.
Thank you, Elder Joseph. So and
also the reason why I say that also because the reason why I said that because in the passage, Kwame said that he has drifted away a bit from the one that the one that is, you know, he have moved away a little in terms of how he sees it. So I think all of that could help us.
Okay. Brother Kwame, are you around? Are you able to respond to Brother Joseph, or can I just go direct to look at the definition of ideology? Brother Kwame?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Brother Kwame.
It's worth doing both. But I'm happy to respond. So we thank Brother Joseph for drawing our attention to looking at words, keywords, if you like, or key sentences. It's normally Brother Welcome that asks us to do that, but and Sister Ida. But so Brother Joseph, thank you very much. Ideology. So ideas. Logy is the study of something, yeah, like criminology, sociology, yes, philosophy. So logy basically is a study of something, the intellectual, if you like, study of a subject, and in this case is a study of ideas. So that's a simple explanation. And there are two strands of ideas. There are materialist ideas and there are idealist ideas. Idealist ideas are the ideas that originate and stay in the mind. And materialist ideas are ideas that have existence outside our mind. One of the crucial differences is that with idealist ideas, they emanate from human beings, which means that without human beings, those ideas will cease to exist. Whereas materialist ideas will exist even if all of humanity disappears from this earth. And that is because those ideas are part of the universal structure, if you like. So to summarize, yes, ideology is a study of ideas. Any other word? That's it.
So I'd suggest that we have the derivative, you know, like some words, for instance, the word consumer, I'm told, originated from monster, the concept of a monster. I'm just saying in terms of the word idea for it, or ideology, which was the derivative word, whether it's Greek or whatever it is. And
Yeah,
just for the
so
expansion of it.
yeah, I understand. Yeah, so Brother Pidgin, you can dig out the root the root word from which ideology comes, the root word from which it comes online. But as I said, as far as I know, it's ideos, which is ideas. It's probably Greek, but we can confirm that.
Can you see my screen? I'm sharing the French.
It's very small. I can't see. So because I'm using my phone, so you'll have to read it for us. I'm afraid, yeah. So for me to see, yeah.
Can somebody read the words I'm highlighting?
Very small.
Which page? Am I in Wikipedia? Okay, let me reshare it because I'm opening 2 pages, but let me reshare the first one. This one is a bit wider, Brother Kwame. Can you see it now?
No, I'm saying to you, I'm on my phone, so I can't see anything. So you read, or somebody read, and then we can.
Can somebody read what I'm sharing? French ideology.
Yes, French.
Yeah.
French ideology. The term ideology originates from French idéologie, which was coined by French philosopher Destutt de Tracy in 1796. It combines the Greek words idea, meaning notion or pattern, and logia, meaning the study of. Initially, it refers to a science of ideas and was influenced by epistemology of philosophers John Locke and Etienne Bonneau de Condillac. Thank you.
Yeah, so that confirms what I was saying that. Yeah, so that confirms what I was saying that the French also got it from Greek, which is ideas, notions, concepts. Yeah, so I hope that answers the question, unless there is any other question.
Brother Kwame, what Wikipedia is trying to expound is that an ideology is a set of beliefs attributed to a person or group of persons, especially those held for reasons that are not purely about belief in knowledge, in which practical elements are as prominent as theoretical ones, formally applied to primary economics, politics, or religion theories and policies. In tradition, going back to Karl Marx and French Eagles, Morrison treats them as mainly condemnatory. So the term was as what was described before. So I think that's okay.
Yeah, so there are, as I said, there are materialist ideas and then there are idealist ideas. And they both of them have practical implications. An idealist faced with a problem will need and pray to an invincible or invisible force or person for support. That's what an idealist might do, that or just recite incantations and believe that those words have power. A materialist might look in the sky and read the stars and say that this star is in this space, therefore it means that somebody has been born in this location called Jerusalem. And the star means that that person will be a very important person, maybe even a savior of the world, something like that. So they are both, so one is materialists looking at matter, the stars, and the other is going into the mind. Yeah, so, and that force itself, as you know, energy, as Brother Raspala has explained to us, that spirituality is energy. And if that is the case, then it means that energy cannot be seen. We can see it at work, but we can't see it with our eyes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sister Ida.
I think we've come across the word epistemology before. but maybe we could be reminded,
Yeah.
if you don't mind. Sorry.
Yeah, again, we have logic at the end. So what is epistemology? Epistemology is a study of how we come to know things. And so it's also a study. So if you are a materialist or you're an idealist, an epistemologist will study how do you come to know that, for instance, there is an invisible person that gave that created the world and so on. How did you come to know that? Was it just handed down through beliefs? Did you actually see this person? And so on and so forth. And then an epistemological analysis of materialists would be, how do you also, if you are saying that this idea exists, whether we human beings are here or not, how do you know? How did you find out? You know, are you sure it wasn't your mind that is just telling you that? Can you prove it outside yourself that this idea can exist, whether or not we are there? So an example, for instance, would be if you take the human family, how is it possible that there can be a family without a family? In the sense that, how is it possible that any human being can come to exist if the family did not exist in the first place? I'm not talking about the chicken and egg situation. That's not what I'm talking. I'm talking about how do we know that there has to be a family before anyone can be born into a family? So that's what I'm saying. And so essentially then, to summarize, epistemology is a study of, it comes from the word epistem, which is the structure of something, yeah? The structure of something. So that's where it comes from. Yeah, so that is it. Thank you.
I agree. I agree. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sister
Hello?
Tapua, go ahead. Yes, Sister Tapua.
Yes. If you could take us back to the Wikipedia page, please, because I need to make a comment in relation to what I've seen there.
In regards to the same context of ideology?
Yes, please.
Okay.
The definition.
I'm just there. Just give me a minute.
All right. Okay.
Yes, you can go ahead. It's very small. I don't know how I can magnify it.
No, it's all right. It's okay. I can
Okay.
do it on my phone. What I'm looking at is I'm trying to see whether the issue that I'm having in my mind has to do with my prejudgment, because the person who is said to have coined the word, Tracy, was a French Enlightenment aristocrat and philosopher. And for me, that rang a bell, because he conceived the science of ideas to develop a rational system of ideas to oppose the irrational impulses of the mob. So what I'm doing is I'm going beyond the definition of the word to look at the originator and see what they would have wanted to use the word for. Because I'm shocked that this aristocrat wanted his side and his thought to be perceived as the science of ideas. And what the ordinary person in the street and what he's calling the irrational impulses of the mob seem to be degraded. And I'm finding the same idea in the passage that we've been reading, because Nkrumah is saying that it's a mistake to say that ideology is supposed to be written by one person or a group of people on paper. And when we're talking about paper, we're talking about status and class things. And he is bringing to our mind that even people without paper, without their ideas written down, can have an ideology. That's what I wanted to point out. And that's why I'm saying I think it's my prejudice here coming through when I see an issue of class, because language has a purpose and language has a function. I'll stop there.
Wow, you started sharing your thinking on a high note. Thank you. Thank you for starting us off. Yeah, let's get to the next person. I think you've done the linkage in the process of trying to do the definition. You have also spoken to this text in some way, trying to give a direction a bit. And thank you for going that length. Let's go through the list and as usual, ask members also want to share their thinking to go ahead and share with us what they think about this text. So I'll call your name. If you're not ready, you can tell me pass. I'll come back still. If you're ready, you can go ahead and share with us what you think. Sister Myra, you're the next in my list.
Thank you, Brother Pigeon. I think, yeah. I strength that I feel like touching on what Sister Kapua was explaining by saying that ideology doesn't have to be written down, it can be a thought. He opens up revolution to the masses, not just the educated elites, but it means that as long as the masses of people, whatever class they come from, whatever background they come from, have an ideology, they can explain it, they can talk about it, they have the thought, then they too will not be excluded from the liberation or revolution. Then he also talks about, I think he also explains the meaning of ideology. So it's not just not the meaning of ideology, but what uses it can be. It's not just to abolish, but it also then seeks to maintain that social order which it has introduced, and at the same time, I think he's trying to say that when he says, but while it is defending its own social order, it's not an ideology. It's still explaining the why. Why is society the way it is? Why do we believe in, for example, consensusists? Why do we believe in philosophical materialism? I think he's saying that should come through in the ideology that is adopted. It should be accessible. The understanding of the ideology should be accessible, not to just those that have been educated, but to everyone. It should be explainable to the masses, so that even though they haven't been in colonial education system, but we explain it to them. That means then that it has to speak to their day-to-day lives. It has to solve problems. They have to see it as a solution to their problems. And again, that's something that he touched on, that if we come up with a philosophy, the philosophy is fashioned after the needs of a society. So I feel perhaps maybe here he's going deeper into the ideology, that it should be accessible to all the masses. It's not only for those that are educated that can write, but it should cut across the whole population, the whole society. It should be for everyone. That's what I've taken from this paragraph. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Myra. Now, just from the text, but the getting question is, do you think can ideology truly remain the same when it shifts from challenging a social order to defending a new one, based on this text?
I thought that question was very interesting. And I tried to kind of put it in today's world where the example that came to my mind was the Western idealism, right? For them, they seem to always explain away why something is good for all, but of course it's good for them. For an example, they say some of us might have had that, oh, colonialism was good for Africa. Why? Well, because it civilized the Africans, because it's complete posh, right? So then time moves on. Now that is unfashionable. Now, oh no. Now we've given you independence, but is it really independence? They're still controlling our resources. So perhaps then the ideology, it shouldn't be deceptive like the Western systems are. But I think it should be adaptable because society is always changing. It's not static. So it should be adaptable, and I think it should be open to the people within that society to change and adapt it to what they need as time moves on or at a particular time. So maybe it changes. I think it changes. But it should be, again, the changes within it should be open to the whole or as many as possible society, not just a small group, and shouldn't be deceptive. It should be really, really speaking and true to the conditions of the people in that society. I don't know if I've answered the question. So yes, I think it changes, but it should be for everyone to participate in whatever change that is.
Yeah, can I come with some clarification?
Yeah, Brother Kwame.
Yeah, let me come with some clarification with respect to the question. Ideology cannot change. Samara, I think you are referring to the policy. That which changes will be the policy that is derived from the ideological principle.
Yeah.
But the ideological principle itself can never change. If you compromise on that ideological principle, then you have abandoned it. So the principle can never change. And what is a principle for us in conservatism? Our principle is not different from the principle of the left, the political left, which is that all humans are equal. That so and so is not or cannot be inferior to so and so because of skin color and so on and so forth. That so and so cannot be superior to so and so because they happen to be born in some royal family. That so and so cannot be superior to so and so because they happen to come from a certain ethnic group or a certain set of beliefs. You might call it Judaism, whatever, So that principle is permanent. How it is implemented in society is what will change, right? So before the motor vehicle arrived, we transported goods through walking. We walked miles and miles to markets, and then some people use horses. And then when the motor vehicle came, we then changed to motor vehicles. It is still, the policy has changed from using a horse to transport, I don't know, anything, to now using a car or a van. So that policy has changed, but the principle is the same. So Samara, I just wanted to clarify for you what was in your mind, which is that, yes, it changes, but it's a policy that changes and not the principle. Yeah, sorry?
So, Brother Kwame, the question was this.
But can I, hold on, can I clarify something? Can I clarify something else? We are all saying that this is what the text is saying, that Nkrumah is saying that the people, or all the ordinary people, also have to have access to ideology. That is what we are saying, and that's what the text is telling us. So the question that Sister Kapua has thrown to us for us to think about is, if the deriver of the word ideology had in mind rationalism and irrationalism, in other words, the basis for coming up with that word, why did Nkrumah, the author of the text we are reading, why did he make the point he made? Why did Nkrumah say what he's saying? And that is a question that we also need to think about in light of what Sister Pua has shared with us. And for those of you who are not conversant with the history of the Gold Coast and of Ghana, I want to just be brief and say that before the arrival of Kwame Nkrumah in the Gold Coast in December 1947, it was believed that those who could do politics are educated people. And by educated people was meant people who have been to Cambridge, Oxford, have traveled abroad and gone to the white man's university and have studied and come back. And like in Ghana, there was a big one called Sir Nana Ofori Atta. Names, no big names. There are other big names, and you can think of some in Zimbabwe or Tanzania or wherever. And these were the educated Africans. These are the students that Nkrumah talked about in the introduction of consensusism. And these are the students that later on became politicians. And only these people, before Nkrumah arrived in the Gold Coast, could do politics. And it was Nkrumah that broke that mold and made ideology accessible to the ordinary person in the Gold Coast. And I just want to say that so that you see where he's coming from. And for doing that, they started insulting him and the other ordinary people. They call them veranda boys and girls. Veranda in Accra, in Ghana, means the porch where those who can't sleep in the house itself will maybe put a mat on the porch of the house and sleep there. These are people who had nothing and maybe even didn't have access to proper housing and so on. And when it came to night, they slept on verandas and porches of the rich and the powerful and so on. And then also maybe they slept in the boys' quarters, what they call boys' quarters, which the Europeans call servants' quarters, if you like. So it was a derogatory term. And Nkrumah and these boys and girls that surrounded Nkrumah were so-called. And Nkrumah, it's just Nkrumah that made ideology, if you like, accessible. And you remember that it was a CPP that Nkrumah formed with the young men and women that later on invited freedom fighters from all over Africa to come and be trained, and also in the ideological institute that he set up in Winneba, so they can go and fight. So Nkrumah was making available ideology not only to people in the Gold Coast, but also to all freedom fighters wherever they were. In short, I'm explaining to you where this is coming from in light of what Sister Powa shared with us. Thank you.
Thank you. So before I go to Brother Joseph, so it's very clear the question was, can ideology remain the same when it shifts from challenging order to defending? The answer is it can remain the same. It doesn't change.
The policy will change, but not the principle.
Thank you. Elder Joseph?
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, are you hearing me? Okay, all right. I think I was going to ask a question as a follow-up to the question, to the response Brother Kwame gave to, I think it's Tapura, and asked whether how would he explain the issue of white supremacy versus, or not versus, but against the backdrop of racism, in terms of what the thing, when he said that the thing doesn't change, the ideology doesn't change, the policy changes. How do you explain that? Because these are things that confuses some people, quite a bit of people. You know, the issue of white supremacy and racism. Can you give some context in that?
So
against the backdrop of the same passage that we're doing. So you're not taking it away.
Yeah, so yeah, that's okay. So white supremacy is if you like a policy based on the philosophy of idealism. And the policy is that in the social hierarchy of society, even at a global level, a certain group of people called whites must be at the top of the social hierarchy. You remember, we talked about this in other classes, and I mentioned to you that Brother Kojo, who doesn't come to our classes anymore, is the one that he first introduced even me to what is called the Colonial Revolution in Virginia in colonial America when it was under British rule. So it was the Privy Council in England working with the settlers in Virginia that came up with the position that they should create something called a white race. Remember, before then, white race did not exist. In those days, the Africans, everybody, those who were not part of the ruling class, they all lived together, they live in the same compound. White women married black men married white women, German women. It was a melting pot. There was no problem. There were no race issues. But because of the concrete situation to do with land and the oppression of the ordinary people, of all the ordinary people, they came together and they rebelled against the ruling class who were mostly English. So that rebellion was called the Baconian Revolution. It was that rebellion that led to the idea amongst the ruling elite that if we don't divide these people, it will not augur well for us. So they came up with this notion that there is a white race, and that is the root of white supremacy. For those of you who are interested, read the works of a lady called Jacqueline Batalora, who is did a PhD on that. Other people have also written on the subject. So white supremacy is essentially that in society, a group called the white race, should be supreme. Now, should control everything. Now you notice that if you're not careful, you will think that white supremacy is about skin color. It's not. It is a class issue. What it means is that even if you are black, if your skin is black, you can still be part of the white hierarchy system. And that's why I said to you last time that in the Saturday class, the Africans are confused. They are when General Langley, who is an American, is speaking the way he does to the I think it was Congress, wasn't it? Congress also, either Congress or the Senate he was speaking to.
The armed committee.
Yes, when he was speaking as an American citizen who is part of the white system, just as Obama also was. And it is Obama, let's recall, that helped to kill Gaddafi. So we can sometimes get confused. We'll think that white supremacy is about color. It is about power. It's a power system. And it's saying that the power must be held by this group of people who are white. And that is why, if you look at the history, there is something, brother Joseph, you probably even tell us more about this. There is something called passing off. This is something that Africans don't understand very well because they are not, Africans on the continent are not exposed to some of these ideas. So sometimes they don't understand when we talk, for instance, about passing off. So passing off is when a black person, somebody who is black, becomes part of the white elite system and is part of, and then becomes someone who also oppresses other Africans. And in Kenya, those of you in the history of Kenya, you'll know that they set up an army made up of black people, just as they had the West African regiment. The West Indian regiment that came to West Africa and helped fight the Ashantis on behalf of the Caucasians. So I'm saying that it's a system. I hope I'm not drifting far away from what Brother Joseph was asking. In short, in terms of the social hierarchy, the white supremacy means that those who identify with the white power structure must always be supreme, in the sense that they control, if you take society, they control the economy, they control the military, they control the legislature, they control the judiciary, they control finance, they control everything. That is what white supremacy is.
But you didn't mention, you didn't clarify the racism part of it. Because I think the conversation is very helpful.
Which
racism,
part?
you know, against
yeah, well, that is racism, isn't it? But just that is racism, in the sense that you are saying that this is why I'm saying that you have to be careful, because black people with black skin can also be part of the white supremacy system. That's why I say you have to be careful. So racism ordinarily will mean that you are privileging a certain group of people, which in those days were so the term race biologically is a fraud, as you know. There is no such thing as a white race or a black race or an Indian race or a yellow race. Yeah. But that was created as part of the white supremacy system in order to defend the system. So when the settlers created white supremacy, nobody took notice of them. The people just ignored them and said, "These people are mad. White race, what is white race?" And they just didn't take. They just ignored them. And so what the settlers did was, because they controlled the legislature, they started passing laws. And those laws, for instance, would say that if you're a white woman and you marry a black man, your child will not be part of the white system. And you can imagine, if you're a woman, you want the best for your child. So if you're a white woman, you want the best for your child. Yes, you love that black man, but then your child will not be part of the power structure. So then what do you do? And that is how segregation began to arise. Yeah. So Brother Joseph, so racism is the idea that there's such a thing as races, and that these races can be put on a hierarchy where you have at the top the race that has no skin color, because they don't have skin color. But you see, when you say white race, it's not about skin color, because if you look at the people who are called whites, their skin color is not white. It's just it's an ideological creation. That's what it is, and that you can then grade or order in a pyramid, in a way of a pyramid, these groups of people by race, so that the white race is at the top, then below them are then those with if you like, skin tones that are slightly darker, until you get to the bottom where you have people like Chinese charcoal black. So that is racism, is a racial hierarchy. And so racism is yes, you can.
Could I supplement what you say? Because I mean, a clear example.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
A modern experience we had was in South Africa from 1948, when people were graded, and sometimes you could be a different category in the morning, and in the evening you were a different category. And also, even blacks, cricketers from the West Indies were accorded honorary white status in order to lure them into South Africa. So I'm asking those questions, and people can see the broad spectrum of how these things are applied and implemented. So you had in South Africa.
I hope that was helpful. So I have to pause myself now.
You had in South Africa the honorary whites. I mean, for people who they wanted to help to keep the system, to support the system, like when they lured the cricketers from the Caribbean or India, so they would accord them status of honorary white, which is a kind of mockery, honorary white. So we are on target, but the conversation is very helpful, I would say. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I'll go to Sister Tapua, but I'll now go to all members who haven't spoken, and I'll come back to those who have spoken before. So Sister Tapua, then I'll go to all the list of those who haven't spoken first. Sister Tapua, please.
Okay. My understanding is going to be around the word progressive. I think it's the fourth line from the bottom. The sentence reads, this is to say, an ideology can remain an ideology whilst defending an existing progressive society. If we're looking at the definition of progressive, us as Pan-Africanists could define certain things that happen in our society as progressive, whereas Trump, with what he is doing, would also define whatever he is doing as progressive. If we are agreed about the meaning of that word and how it fits into specific context, it will make us understand the passage slightly differently. I'll go back to the sentence starting, an ideology. An ideology, even when it is revolutionary, I'm going to exclude that phrase, even when it is revolutionary, because it's meant to add just extra meaning. So the sentence, the basic sentence is, an ideology does not merely express the wish that a present social order should be abolished. So we are learning that an ideology is looking at replacing the current with something else. The next sentence reads, it seeks also to defend and maintain the new social order which it introduces. So what we have in the American system that my brother was asking about racism, is there is an ideology that established the social order in America. But like my brother Kwame was saying, certain thing, when the social order is established by a specific ideology, a dance occurs in which policies are changed in order to maintain and sustain the ideology. So capitalism and all the ideas that go with supporting that system will use anything that could appear progressive to maintain the order. So, for example, colonialism wasn't working anymore. Colonialism was there to support a particular ideology. And in order for that particular ideology that was supported by colonialism to continue to exist, they had to appear to give in to what the colonized were asking for. They had to appear to give in to what the maroon societies were asking for. So the ideology did not change. It's the reactions that changed. So how I see it is, Nkrumah is warning us that we should not just depend on what we see in order to understand, or what we experience in order to understand an ideology. Because ideology exists in the ideas world. But what we see on the ground is something that opens to us an understanding of what the ideas that those people who are enacting this new social order have. But there's also a danger, because we can see, for example, in the post, who was this guy that was set on by the policeman? You've got the walk.
George Floyd.
Yes. Right. You can see that it was so uncomfortable for certain people who hold a certain idea of racism. And racism, they saw, could not continue to be used as a tool to maintain their ideology, and therefore they would shift. The UK government is great at that. They will jump onto any wagon that they think the people are beginning to protest about, whether it be reparations. They will twist it in such a way that they maintain their position. This is why Nkrumah says, to say an ideology can remain an ideology whilst defending an existing progressive society, nor can the fact that some particular ideology is not explicit on paper prevent it from being one. And it is crucial. So we have tools that have been used to try and damn down and condemn those people who come up with ideas that are not on paper, because they want to take those, put them on paper and dance with them and say whatever it is they want, and do whatever it is they need to do to maintain their ideology. I'll stop there for now.
Thank you. Brother Anu?
Sorry, before you come in, let me interject. Satapoa, I think you are large, but I want you to be mindful of something. What you are discussing is what Nkrumah explained as the nub of the British way of doing things, which is that, and this is how Nkrumah said it, and that's what you are saying. They hunt with the hounds and they run with the hare, you see, and that is what they will jump on anything. Those who, if you look at Britain, you'll hardly hear that somebody was murdered in England because they believed in something, or somebody was picked up at night. This system doesn't operate like that, and that's what Sister Tapoa is referring to. So nobody will come and pick you from you will not disappear like in Kenya. Yeah, people will not come and pick people at night and then they will disappear. That's not how this system works. If you have a particular belief and you think that your belief is what society should follow, you have a way of they have a way of dealing with it. For instance, you go to university and then you face your other university graduates who will challenge you, defend yourself, and so on. So in short, it is running with the hare and hunting with the hounds. But Satapa, what I was trying to say is that you are right in the sense that they will appear to be giving in, but they don't really want to. But that is not to say that when we were fighting for independence, they just appeared to be giving it to us. They resisted. We had to fight for it. We had to fight for independence. And I think that we shouldn't minimize, we should not minimize the fact that our parents had to fight in order for independence to be won. There are countries like in Namibia, SWAPO had to, sister, brother, welcome, correct me if I'm wrong, they had to go to war with the Portuguese, with the other groups. But in other countries, like Angola, and so they had to go to war, and the Cubans had to fly in. Cubans were on the ground as soldiers fighting these people, and the South Africans on the ground. So there was a real war, Sister Tapua. And so I hear you that they should appear. But if I'm not saying that's what you are saying, but if you don't say it in a certain way, then it will appear that you are saying that, oh, we want independence because the white man decided that they should give in to us and appear to be giving it to us, but really not. Am I making sense? Okay. Am I making sense?
Yes, come in.
Yeah, do.
Right. Yes, you're making sense. But what I'm saying is, I come from a country where we fought and where we fought for independence. I'm not demeaning the fact that we fought, but what I'm saying is these guys are so determined to not lose what they have in their hands. So when I say they will appear to be, they give you independence, but they make sure.
No, sister, they didn't give it to us. That's my point, Sister Tapua. They didn't give it to us.
I withdraw that word.
They didn't give it to us. We fought for it. That's my point, Sister Tapua.
Then can you listen? Can you listen to me and whilst I finish my thought?
Go on.
Right. They were going to make sure that their companies remained here. They were going to make sure that, like what they did in the Sahel, you sign certain papers. So, which is what Nkrumah was saying, when he was saying we need to stand together, because he could see it. He could see that some of his brothers and comrades could not see this deception, because it was a deception that made people accept conditions that they shouldn't have accepted. They fought, yes. But the type of snake that we're dealing with will change form.
Yes.
It will change form to maintain order. It will give you false leaders.
I'm sorry to cut in. We are also snakes. They are not the only snakes. Okay, snakes. The Caucasian system does not have monopoly over snakes. Okay, the point I'm making. This is the point you are making is taking us to the three types of Africans: the liberals, the conservatives, and the progressives. And that's the point you are making. And I think we'll agree with you that if you take Nigeria, for instance, Nigeria did not fight for independence like Ghana did. Yeah. You can say in Nigeria, they gave them independence. You could make that argument because when they saw what was happening, they put together, they concocted an election, and then they said this person won, that person won, which was all lies. The guy who exposed it was crippled in this country. You know, he never worked again. They made sure he never went anywhere near anything. They crippled him when he came out and said what he said. So what I'm saying, Sister Pua, is that when you are saying they gave it to us, remember, in Algeria, there was a civil war against the French for independence. You understand? So I'm just saying that, just be mindful how you say it, so you don't appear to be saying that all across the continent. They just gave us independence because they are snakes. Well, we are snakes too. We gave birth to them. If they are snakes, then we are the bigger snakes. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
We are having 40 minutes to go, and I'm having 13 people who have been spoken. So I'll give at least 3 or any minutes you will take to those who have been spoken, so that we can go through the list. Then if you have more time, we'll come back again on this. So I'll request that I know comments might have been made that are giving reference to the text, but I request that you share your thinking first of all to the text, then you can make your extra thinking in any references that have been discussed. So I will not be, of course, be looking forward to somebody starting to do the racism aspect, but rather you can mention it as an example of what you're trying to discuss in regards to the text as well. So let me get to Brother Anu. Brother Anu, please share with us your thinking on this text. Brother Anu.
Yes, brother. Peace, blessings. Wonderful. I've heard so many good things today. I'm not even sure where to start. I would like to say thanks to all of the brothers and sisters who gave wonderful and valuable contributions. Too many to mention, but wonderful. I'd like to open and say that Kwame Nkrumah was a visionary. And I would like to speak basically a little bit on things that was talked about. That's epistemology, ideology, paradigm shifts, and morality. And I would say morality because when I received the text about the class today, it says that we will explore the concepts of ideology and morality, focusing on how they shape our decisions and judgments, even often in subtle and unspoken ways. So how they shape our decisions and our thinking. First, epistemology. I use epistemology a little bit differently. When I use epistemology, I normally refer to how we analyze the world. And to me, it refers a lot about our worldview. For an example, if we refer to the duality of reality or nature, it can be material or spiritual. So a person's epistemology, or the way the person is looking at the world, can be from a material or a spiritual worldview. So how you see the world, you may be in tune with nature or out of tune with nature based upon your worldview or your epistemology. Okay, now, morality. One thought that I have is, how does morality shape our decisions and judgments? That is what you ask. But I would like to include actions as well. So how does morality shape our decisions, judgment, and actions? Now, I heard some very good things with ideology. Ideology definitely is a system of ideas, because the etymology of the word ideology deals with ideas. So your particular ideology is, in your consciousness, a system of ideas, your ideals, your beliefs and values that is shared by you and a group of people in your village or your community or your nation. And it normally use ideologies to explain and also to justify the actions and the policies that the people, the community, or the government implements. So basically, it is a way of thinking that shapes how people understand the world and their place in it, right? So basically, when I look at the paragraph, right, on the screen, ideology was utilized in reference to this statement here, uniting the actions of millions towards specific and definite goals. One of these goals is social order, okay? The text goes on and it says, an ideology seeks to defend and maintain the new social order which it introduces. So to me, what this infers is defending the need for what we call a paradigm shift. And I've used that term many times, such as rational and right thinking, right? So when I utilize it in Barbados now, I say paradigm and paradigm shifts. You gotta look at now, what is a paradigm, right? And we say, well, a paradigm is a standard or a perspective, and we go back now to a set of ideas. We're going back now to ideology. So a paradigm now is a way of looking at something in simple terms. What we call a paradigm in society can mean like a new way of thinking and a new way of behaving. Because remember, behavior is predicated by thought. So in other words, we can go from an immoral to a moral. Okay? So therefore, to me, one of the things I try to do is have what I call a moral paradigm shift. Right? And it doesn't have to be a sudden shift, but it is a shift in how could be Barbadian society, Ghanaian society, Kenyan society, how the core and ethical beliefs and practices actually are going to have a shift, right? So we're going to realign our values. So I've noticed over the last 50 years or so that the values and the norms of Barbadian society, and I grew up in New York, in Brooklyn, I realized that those values and norms has also changed too. So coming back now to morality now, to morality can encompass an ideology. So now let's unpack that. How does morality shape the decisions, judgments, and actions? That is a question that I received when I came into this segment here, right? Now, morality. What I find and what social scientists have shown is that morality strongly influences our decisions and judgments by shaping, right, through the programming and so forth in the social construct, how we perceive and evaluate our thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions, and their consequences. And I'm telling you why I say consequences as well. That deals with something called future-oriented thinking. But let me come back to morality, right? So what I find is that morality, I have a program in Barbados. It is an African study program I'm trying to expand. And in it, I have ethics and morals, okay? Why do I have ethics and morals? Because the children, the youth, we need to instill in them moralities to help so they can distinguish what is right and what is wrong, to guide their choices, because everything is a choice. They have to understand what is fair and what is not fair, right? If you're going to harm some person or not harm some person, and what about the well-being of others? So basically now, all of these things, we must look at another concept, not another concept, but how do we embrace now morality with its ability to shape our decisions? Because we've already established that morality can shape how we think, how we feel, our emotions, and our decisions. So how do we embrace morality is what I think a lot of this deals with now. And those decisions now would act on society. We can have an honest, if I get the children to embrace morality, they can be honest and truthful, they can have integrity, work integrity, social integrity, and they will be more just and fair. So, have we ever had an African civilization that operated with the principles of morality? Yes. One of the oldest civilizations did. In Kemet, ancient Egypt, they had a system of morality called Ma'at. Now, Ma'at encompassed a system where they had something called the 42 Declarations of Innocence. Declarations of Innocence are things where they say things like, and some of you may know these Declarations of Innocence, if I turn them from thou shalt not, which is in the Old Testament, New Testament, sorry, the Bible itself, and say, not thou shalt not, but I have not. Here are a few that comes out of Kemet, ancient Egypt. Listen to this. I have not stolen. I have not uttered lies. I have not committed adultery. I have done no evil. I have not cursed God. So you see, we're talking about morals and ethics. How can we take these things? How can we take an ideology, a philosophy, and do a Sankofa, go back into the past gather the essence of who we were, bring it to the present, so that the society that we're living in, you wouldn't have to worry about somebody cheating you. You just have some money on the ground, nobody would put the foot over the money until you go away and then pick it up. They say, hey, excuse me, my brother, my sister, this is yours. You agree or disagree?
Hello, brother.
Yes, brother. Do you disagree or disagree? Anyhow, I'm not sure if you are hearing me.
When you say agree or disagree, what do you mean? Agree or disagree with what?
Right. With the concept that if we look at ideologies, epistemologies, we look at a paradigm shift. And I think what Brother Kwame was talking about a lot is that we need a paradigm shift in how we relate to one another. And this paradigm shift, if we introduce it into society, it will benefit, and it is a just ideology based upon the worldview of a spiritual worldview as opposed to a material one. Then society would improve. Children will be to implement this concept of ma'at, justice, truth.
So Brother Anu, the 42 negative confessions of
actually they were called the Declarations of Innocence. The Caucasoids called them negative confessions.
Of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, as a moral system that was practiced in ancient Egypt. So I don't think anybody here would disagree that that's a moral system that will benefit us immensely as Africans. The challenge for us, Brother Anu, is the way you are using morality. You appear to be implying that there's only one interpretation of morality. But when you look at morality as a set of rules for conduct, as opposed to ethics, which is the study of morality, then philosophically, one can argue that there can be different moralities, just as there can be different studies of those rules. So in one society, if you are not, let me use a concrete example. If you are a Palestinian in Israel today, and if you are a Palestinian child living in the areas that are being bombed by Israel with American bombs, then one can argue that your life is worthless. Your life as a child, as a Palestinian child, is not regarded of being of the same value as a Jewish child. Your life is of less value. Now, that is a rule of conduct that is upheld by Israeli society and through their laws. You understand? Now, you see, now one can disagree, and people have disagreed with those rules of conduct and say this is immoral. But philosophically, what you say is immoral could be moral to some other group. So the point I'm making is that philosophically, I hear what you're saying, but we are having a philosophical discussion, and then we can say, okay, how do we apply it to Africa today? But as a philosophical discussion, I'm just saying that morality is not predefined. That's what I'm trying to say, brother.
Brother, I respectfully disagree, because when we look at, there's certain things in the universe that the universe is based upon. And if we're looking at things dealing with...
Okay, excuse, I'll allow the conversation to continue, yes.
Okay.
But also be mindful that we have some other members on the line.
Okay,
so,
okay.
Brother Ali, just proceed first and you finish your thought line.
No problem, please.
Just proceed. Yeah, just proceed first. Finish your line of thought in regards to this step first.
No, I was just saying that there's a strong link between morality and fruit-oriented thinking. And there's certain things in the universe are standard. Morality is morality. If you're looking at your actions, and future-oriented thinking also talks about what the consequences of your actions and what they will do to others as well, and fairness. So if we look at it in that context, there's certain things that will not change. Right and wrong can, depend upon your basic epistemology, could be different. If we're looking at it from a system of fairness and how it affects other people and the society and the social code and conduct, there is a code of ethics where ethics and morality can marry and can be one and not be separate. But that is another discussion.
Yeah, but I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying to you that from a philosophical position, what you are saying is fair can be seen as unfair by another group. That's what I'm saying. So I hear you are saying there are kind of certain rules, but those rules are not within nature itself. The rules of human conduct have arisen because humans have arisen from nature. The rules of conduct in terms of the universe itself are brutal. I mean, and as Brother Pigeon said, we can go into that another time. I'm not disagreeing what you are saying.
Brothers, I disagree with that as well. The universe, the principles of the universe are based upon certain principles. And if we are aligning ourselves with those principles, so you know what? I see that you're coming from one worldview and I'm coming from another worldview. So let's, for now, agree to disagree.
Yeah,
and we can want
that's
to
fine. That's fine. But I am a materialist. So
respectfully, brother. Yeah, please. Yeah.
That's fine. I'm not an idealist. I am a materialist.
Correct.
I'm making a materialist position.
I know you are.
Yes. And if you're an idealist, you disagree with me, and that's understandable. That's understandable.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, then thank you. I think that conversation need another time, probably on a Saturday, but it's okay. Sister Portia, you'll go next, then Elder Sam will come after you, then I'll go to Sister, in that order. So let's start with Sister Portia, then Elder Sam will come, then General Nunaki is also in line, that order. Sister Portia?
Okay, thank you so much. So there are 10 sentences, and I want to take them one by one. The first one, it speaks to morality is a direction. So if you can think of morality as a direction, and that direction, it's aiming to connect the actions of however many people. In this case, it was mentioned millions. And then the ideology, that ideology is a point of view that is unchangeable, to Professor Kwame's point. So that it cannot be changed, that ideology, though it can be, philosophically. And I want to mention, even though Professor Kwame obviously is more well-read than I still contend that I am not anything. Though when I say not anything, I'm not an idealist or a materialist, because Professor Kwame has widely studied, and he says there are two forms of thought. You're either materialist or idealist. And I don't agree that I'm either one of them. So that ideology is an unchangeable point of view, and it aims to unite those actions that are linked to morality, the direction towards goals. And then in the second sentence, when you look at this ideology, it's not a cut and dry standard definition of ideology. It's not that. And back to the first sentence, there's a point that I missed. That latter phrase, ideology, it can be about taking cues, or it could be the unsaid. So then the second point, there is no cut and dry standard definition of ideology. And then the third sentence basically says that generic or standard view, a generic or standard definition of ideology Dr. Ikuba wants to go away from that standard definition. And then the fourth sentence, he goes on to basically say that he disagrees with a standard or a generic type of definition. The fifth point, to Queen Sister Tapua's point about you could just remove revolutionary and just basically say, or you could say, not that Sister Tapua said this, you could say revolutionary ideology or non-revolutionary ideology doesn't imply, I'm thinking anarchy. And to the sixth sentence, why I think anarchy is because then in the sixth sentence, ideology is based on a conceived order. And then the seventh sentence is that type of ideology, it's like in between. So it's defending a new order while it's adhering to a current order. So the eighth sentence just clarifies the seventh sentence. And then the ninth sentence is, even though that ideology may not be exactly written, for example, 1 to 1 billion rules for everything about that ideology, it can still be an ideology. And in the 10th sentence, the idea is crucial, not the how nor the why. And my MBs, because the conversation was it was very interesting between Professor Kwame and King Brother Anu, Queen Sister Tapua. So, for example, I would disagree with Professor Kwame on the point that in England, they are not picking people up from the street. And why I say that is, if we go back to the text, in the ideology of white supremacy, if the propaganda doesn't work, if the court systems doesn't work, the bribes don't work, the arguments for it, or the policies, and someone or some people go against that and they are a sizable threat, they will be picked up. And then it's interesting what I would love to hear that, maybe I have to come to a Saturday session, what King Brother Anu was saying. I actually agree with Professor Kwame. Morality is not, it is not even philosophically, practically, because if you look at, for example, the United States of America and the ideology of white supremacy, there were people who were saying, don't kill, and then they were enslaving people, and they thought that was moral. So I tend to agree with Professor Kwame's point that it is morals it's a perspective. Someone in one part of the world can say this is moral and another. Even though, to King Brother Anu's point, there are those kind of large points of that is agreed. Don't murder, don't have adultery. However, with murder, if someone is in war, murder is accepted. Or is that now not murder because they were claiming self-defense? What if they went into a country and that country was fighting for its its freedom, but they thought they needed to go in and kill those people. Is that murder or is that self-defense? And then the last point is I've noticed everything about ideology is except anarchy. I haven't seen anyone who wants to have anarchy. There's always some type of order. I yield.
Thank you. Elder Sam, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Brothers and sisters, I want to start by saying I would have liked to hear Queen Portia tell us where she falls. She said she's not belong to both, but she didn't go forward to say where she belongs. But
Sam,
sorry,
it's a free word. It's a free word.
Thank you. Yeah, but my real input, because of time, my real input is that, you know, I'm happy today. I saw clearly the reason why I must be in this class every time. I think all the inputs have been valuable, I hope, to all of us, because I have really benefited. And I think basically I can just deduct that Kwame Nkrumah is telling us that being a revolutionary is exactly what they've always said, not a dinner party. It's not like going to arrange flowers. You need to be on top of your game in all directions. And without wasting time. If you are in a revolution and you are not on guards, even the people that you are waging that revolution against will overtake you and suppress you and take over the country or society in the direction they want. So the struggle for supremacy of these ideologies will always take place. And Kwame is saying to us, we need to know that there's also a thin line between being a revolutionary and being a reactionary. And you can remember the struggles that Lenin had with Trotsky. You can remember the struggles that Mao Zedong had with Lin Piao and Xi Jinping, his own wife in China. And here in South Africa, you can see what has happened. When we say a revolution or an ideology must define the definite goals, but we must also know that when you reach that goal, there must be another hill for that revolution that must climb. So if you stagnate, you are going to revise backwards all the time. So for me, I think this was a great eye-opener, and I thank you all. Thanks.
Thank you, Elder Sam. So welcome, Sawindo. Sawindo?
Yeah. Yes, please pass in the interest of time.
No, you still have even a minute to say something. You can't pass. Elder Sam, Sawindo, you said it's because of time. So I'm giving you the time. Please say something.
Yes. No, try just pass.
Pass, but thank you, Sawindo. I have learned in my life that there are two reasons why somebody says something: a good reason and a real reason. So you gave me a good reason because of time. You have refused to give me a real reason. It's okay.
But freedom, please.
Let me get to General Nunaki. General Nunaki? General Nunaki?
Yeah, son of the soil. Give thanks, my brother.
Please. Give thanks. I will not pass.
Yeah. Okay, let me just read the last part. It says, what is crucial is not the paper, but the thought. So it also comes back to this thing of how the whites actually knew that Christianity had good morals, and knowing that they didn't have good morals, but wanted to use our ancestors for human labor, they pretended, in fact, they allowed our ancestors to praise this white Jesus they created and pretending as if they have one God with the blacks, while they were taking the resources and everything. So that was in the thought, it was not in the paper, which is the Bible. So yeah, I'll just read that part. Okay, also I can read this one, which says that this is an evident mistake in ideology when it is revolutionary. That does not merely express the wish that present social order should be abolished. It's also to defend and maintain the new social order which it introduces. So this further reinforces what I'm saying, that it is not the way basically individuals just write, and then when they write and then they say, and then it's already there. No, it takes time. This thing, they take time to implement for the people to accept. For the people, they must all accept this ideology and follow it for it to actually be an ideology. Thank you.
Thank you, General
Brother
Maki.
Pigeon,
Yes,
Brother Pigeon, you haven't shared
yes.
your ideas, and it's 10 minutes left.
Now,
Um,
now I
I
have
would,
two people in line.
yes, hold on, but I would like to say something before the two people speak, and then you also speak, which is that in what Brother Sam and Brother Raspala have told us, and what Sister Tapua also mentioned earlier, has defined for us what we are required to do. And we are required to do four things according to this paragraph. 1, abolish. 2, replace. 3, defend. And 4, maintain. Those are the four things that we are required to do. So this has defined for us. And the chapter itself, as you know, is society and ideology. So our ideological goals are now clear. We need to abolish, replace, defend, and maintain. Thank you.
So we abolish, we replace, we defend, and we maintain.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
And brother Sam has told us, if you do not defend and maintain, they will run you over again. And President Museveni has made speeches on this very issue, that when they won independence, they forgot to continue to link up. They all went to sleep. And now, as Brother Sam has said, then they came back. Anyway, I'll pause there because others have to speak. Thank you.
Brother Pigeon.
Yes. Sarindoc, now you
say that again. Start
now,
that again. Abolish.
Abolish, replace, maintain.
Defend and maintain.
Maintain and defend.
And maintain, yes.
So
Is
abolish,
it in that order?
Replace, abolish, replace, defend, and maintain.
Thank you.
Yeah, now you found something at least. Let's get to Sister Chisomo, and then I'll give Brother Karanja. Sister Chisomo, we are having 8 minutes to go, but let me hear what Sister Chisomo also has. Sister Chisomo, please share with us something.
Hello and good evening. It's been an interesting topic. Learned a lot. I don't have to repeat what has been said, but the race issue was interesting because I have read a number of times, for example, in America, that Black people were classified as white, or you had to apply. And they asked you to apply because of your wealth and lifestyle you're living, to apply to become white, and others would refuse, others would take the offer. And I think that's when we hear arguments about he's white, he's not white. For example, Kamala's father, there was that argument because he was classified as white. And as far as ideology, as to whether it changes based on the last comment that's been made about abolishing, replacing, defending, and maintaining, I would then say it does change. Because if it's not working and it's not effective, then you have to change it. And things evolve, and people evolve, and ideas evolve. That's probably why when Nkrumah decided, let's do this, and people split over, and like Kamuzu would say, there were so many cliques. Either some people believed it and some people didn't, or some people didn't want to because of they were classified as the other. They didn't want to be the other side. So yes, we see it in political parties. Recently, the Labour Party is being accused of changing whatever Labour was about or whatever Labour people believed. Yeah, we get the, I mean, it's the same thing with the Democrats. Oh, they deceived us because people thought they were on this tunnel, only to find Democrats are doing something different, so they believe that they've changed. So I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sister Chisom. I have to accept it was a very interesting conversation. But let me give Brother Karanja, who have joined us for the first time. Brother Karanja is my fellow comrade in struggle here in Kenya. We are moving together as Pan-Africans, trying to educate and re-educate ourselves in this. So, Brother Karanja, I know it's your first time. You can even say hi or share something you come across today. Brother Karanja? Brother Karanja, can you hear me? Or is dropped? Let me check. Okay. It seems he dropped off. Oh, but I think he was here. Okay. Brother Karanja, is here. Okay, you might not hear me. If you could hear me, you could unmute yourself, but it's okay. So, Brother Karanja and myself and another comrades, we are doing so many things in the country.
Brother PJ, you share your thoughts on the text. Thank you.
Now, I'll only focus on one thing here on the ideology. The purpose is unification. Also, an ideology aims at uniting the actions of millions towards a specific and definite goal. So it means that we as Pan-Africans and Africans and Black people across the globe, we need to have an ideology. And we need to defend that ideology because that ideology is what will unify us. And that ideology is what will lead us to our specific goals. And our specific goals is very clear. It's a total liberation, total unification, and total development of Africa. So until we agree on that ideology, we will always be divided. So it is very important that we define an ideology for ourselves, defend that ideology, and maintain that ideology so that together we can unite. And I think the reason why we've been divided is these differences in ideology. And that's why I want to call the importance of that ideology to our revolutionary struggle. That will be my comment for today. Thank you. Brother Kwame?
Yes, but let's remember, Pigeon, that all of us cannot believe in the same ideology. Because there is such a thing as liberal ideology, there is conservative ideology, and there's progressive ideology. And Africans are split into three. The key issue today is that the liberals and conservatives have taken power across the continent, and we, the progressives, are not in office. So that is a challenge for us. But certainly, what I take from what you've said is that Nkrumah again is reminding us that we have a job to do, which is to unify millions of Africans around these three ideas that Brother Pidgin you've mentioned, which is liberation, unification, and development. And I think Sister Myra is right, and this is Tapua also made that point on the Saturday class, which is that we need to define these things and what they mean for the ordinary Africans. What does it mean? What does liberation mean in the everyday life of the ordinary African? What does unification mean? What does development mean? And if the people can identify with these things, then we can unite them. We can unite millions of them, and then we can then overthrow the liberals and the conservatives and run the continent. Thank you. Yeah, announcements.
Yes, Brother Kwame, I'll always be requesting you to tell me the schedule of what will be next. So as I'm trying to give my last remarks, please look for us the next Saturday topic. But I would like to say that I really thank members of JNS. I think, Brother Kwame, what you've mentioned, the team of myself, including Brother Karanja who has joined me, and Brother Julius Kamau from Kenya, and another brother called Sialel, we are looking forward to see how we can take these ideologies of this discussion to the ordinary citizens, because we believe that the citizens must be informed with the right information. So we are trying to see ways on how we can sustain our movement to the ground so that we can meet the masses. And that's a movement you're trying to build here from Kenya, so that we can really reach to the people, so that we can then liberate their minds and make them see where we want to go. Because, you know, as Nkrumah say, the revolution belongs to the masses, and the masses must take it up. So that's what you're doing over here. So permit me to thank everybody. It was actually the dialectics. There was an existence of dialectics in the conversation. And that's what makes it sometimes very important and very good for us. We are not against dialectics, and we accept the existence, and we embrace dialectics. As you said, we can never all unite. So that's still the positive and the negative action. So thank you very much, comrades, for your time. And we look forward to still have this conversation. What I'll request of you, comrades, is that go back sometimes back and listen to this conversation again. If you have time, please listen to this conversation again. And if possible, share them with some friends whom you wish you could share them with, because we are discussing very important things. And I wish the next generation will be listening to us as we are trying to listen to what Brother Kwame Nkrumah was doing. Now the next generation will think, this is what these guys were doing. So thank you very much. And Brother Kwame will give us the topic for this Saturday. And next Saturday, we pick it from here.
We have to forgo one topic, because there was market integration, which we should have had last week. I'm talking about the Saturdays now, brothers and sisters. But then instead we had the coordinating of defense strategies. So we either forget about market integration and go to the planned topic for Saturday, which is infrastructure development. Or if we like, we combine the two. So market integration and infrastructure development. So we deal with them as one topic. It's up to us. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, comrade. So I suggest that we'll have to look at the link between the economics and
market,
the market and the
integration.
development.
Market
And the
integration,
development.
infrastructure development. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, thank you. So that will be our discussion for tomorrow. Is there suggestions, Brother Kwame, in the chat? I know somebody have raised some suggestions that we might need to pick up. I was not able to read, but
yeah, sorry, I didn't look in the chat today at all. But as usual, Brother General has shared with us the book.
Okay.
And I'm just checking Ma'at. I don't know if you all know, but Ma'at is the source of the word mathematics. I don't know if you're all aware of that. So it's our word.
Okay.
It came from us. Yeah. The rules of Ma'at are the rules of mathematics, if you like. I'm checking, and then Brother Sam has also shared with us something about the society and the cycles. And then I think Brother Coco shared with us a document on ideology. That's it. Nothing else. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Sister Posh, I'll reach out to you. I would like to remind members that, of course, we have been sending some of to friends. Majority of them are here. So our Zoom subscription, I think deadline is, Brother Kwame, is 8. It's no longer 6, it's 8 when we are doing the renewal. I think that's it. So to members whom you have reached out, just do what you can within your means. We are not pushing you, but we appreciate also those who have come out. We will have to continue. As usual, this is our tradition. So we'll have to keep the space moving so that we can impact more people. So thank you very much. Just respond to where you can or what you can, but we really appreciate even your presence and your time here. So let's have a blessed evening, and let's meet again this Saturday or next week. Thank you all.